I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times with news from Arkansas on Thursday, January 14th. As we record this at mid-afternoon on Thursday, the prosecution is still presenting its case against Arron Lewis. He's the man charged with kidnapping and asphyxiating Beverly Carter, a real estate agent, on a house call in Scott in 2014. What the prosecution is working to do today is to put in as much in evidence as possible of various statements that Lewis gave to them or to media and others about his involvement in the case. He hasn't necessarily given statements directly admitting killing Carter, but he certainly was around throughout. Now, they're also going to inoculate themselves against an expected defense. They've introduced his affidavit in which he's made up a story, or the prosecution says he's made up a story, that Carter met with them to have sex and that she died as an accidental means. I'm not yet clear how the defense will establish that's worthy of an innocent verdict, but that's yet to be determined. The defense isn't putting on its case yet. Yesterday, Attorney General Leslie Rutledge turned down again a petition proposal from David Couch, who was the leader of a medical marijuana ballot initiative in 2012, said that it doesn't meet her standards for going on the ballot. Couch says that the Attorney General is repeatedly turning down provisions that have been approved by the ballot before, including by the Arkansas Supreme Court. He thinks she's politically opposed to it and is standing in the way. Her office says that's not true. There are 3 other ballot petitions on marijuana circulating already. It's worth noting that all of them were approved by Attorney General Dustin McDaniel before Rutledge took office. Officials at the Little Rock Technology Park, some 11 years in the making with $20 million or more of taxpayer money in it, may finally get started late this year, officials said. Perhaps November or December, some tech firms will begin moving into renovated buildings on downtown Little Rock's Main Street. That's hoped to produce a tech boom in Little Rock. That's something to look forward to. Ted Sewell, who operated a massive chain of community counseling centers for young people and a residential facility called the Lord's Ranch near Pocahontas, was going to go to trial next week for a bribery case in which he's accused of bribing state officials to get favorable treatment from the Department of Human Services. That case has been postponed until July. A student at Harmony Grove High School took a gun to school yesterday, wanted to show it off to friends, thought it wasn't loaded. It was. The gun went off. It shot one student in the back. He wasn't seriously injured. The student likely will be expelled. State law says he must be. The other big news in Arkansas today is sad news, deaths. One was the death in Providence, Rhode Island of C.D. Wright, a Mountain Home native who became a world-famous poet. She was a MacArthur Genius Award winner, a Guggenheim Fellow, a poet, a prose artist. She wrote about prison life. She wrote about Arkansas, did a roadmap of Arkansas literature that's going to be reissued later this year in a new form. She was a great person and a great loss. She died at 67. Also, Jim Hanna, who retired in the fall from the state Supreme Court as its Chief Justice after a decade, died this morning. He'd been battling cancer for some time. His death was expected. It's a sad note. The Arkansas Supreme Court today issued a very perfunctory statement about his death. At the same time, it issued a much more laudatory statement about a man who'd served a brief 2 years by appointment on the Supreme Court. Apparently, bitterness still lingers among at least 4 members of the Supreme Court who were among a group that usurped Jim Hanna's administrative power while he was Chief Justice, created a great deal of division on the court. A lot of this stemmed from the same-sex marriage case, and that's has proved to be a hot topic in a number of venues in Arkansas. And finally, one last huck-up, the Mike Huckabee campaign may be coming to an end. We posted on the Arkansas blog today, that's arkansasblog.com, a nice piece of YouTube video done by a campaign follower of Huckabee at a small appearance in Iowa, where somebody asked him why he was not a hypocrite since he was so defensive of the Duggar family while describing himself as a family values champion. The interesting thing is how mad Mike Huckabee got about it. We saw a side of Mike Huckabee that some of us have seen in some close quarters, but it was on display and open. He can get petulant, he can get angry, he can get ugly. And that's the news today from Arkansas. I'm Max Brantley. Be back tomorrow.
I've never supported child abuse. Let me finish. Let me finish.